Hi, I'm David Morrissey, and from Basic Instinct 2, and I'm here with Sharon Stone. Welcome to Moviefone.com Unscripted. And we're going to interview each other, which it says here, with your questions and some of our own. So I'm going to start with, how challenging was it to rekindle the character Catherine Tramell after 14 years?
Well, I thought it was going to be easy. I thought, okay, I've done this before. It'll be kind of a breeze. And I know how she is. I know her vocal pattern. I know the way she walks. I know what's happening. And then I got there, and I was really scared. I was scared to be so dark, and I was afraid to kind of surrender myself to that weird, dark place. But because once you go there, you really are there. And it's a weird place to live.
Sure. I didn't see any of that fear, but yeah.
That's because I was going for you. Being from the United Kingdom, did the original Basic Instinct have an impact on theatergoers overseas?
Yeah, I think, the impact of Basic Instinct was worldwide, the first one, definitely. And I remember when it first came out and going to see it and really just loving the film. I think that the idea of such a well-made sexual thriller, that just, regardless of where you were in the UK or wherever, it just made an impact on everybody. Now, this is from Todd Piccone from Upland, California. And does Hollywood still pressure its leading ladies to be sex symbols?
Well, I think there's always that question, and it's sad, but it's true that in these studio meetings, they always ask the question, is she effable? And they say it like that, is that lady? And because I think that part of going to the theater is you want to have fantasy in the theater. And part of our fantasies are, can we fall in love with? Can we have a romantic idealization of an actor in a movie?
Sure. I think the other movies you go to is you go there to identify with the people as well. And you can have movies where you fantasize, it takes you out of yourself, and other movies that show a mirror, throw up a mirror to us as well. So,
but I have to say, the men that to me in a movie theater that I think, I fall in love with him, are not always the classically beautiful like you guy.
Thank you.
But it's not that I go and think I always want to fall in love with the tall, dark, and handsome guy. I fall in love often with the guy who's just so interesting, such a fabulous actor, I was always in love with Humphrey Bogart. I was in love with Edward G. Robinson, and he was not so gorgeous. You think it's not always just because they're gorgeous that makes someone sexy. It's because they're fabulous.
This is from Marco Gallardo from Sacramento. And is there another film from your career that you believe merits a sequel?
Oh, I don't know, but I think if I could play again any character that I played before, I'd like to play the character that I played in The Quick and the Dead. I loved playing a cowgirl. And I fell in love with my horse. I bought that horse. That horse was my horse, who's now retired. That horse is working at a school for children who are blind. And that's so cool. I just fell in love with everything about being in Tucson, learning how to be a fast gunslinger, working with all the guys, being in that period. The whole thing was just great for me. I loved it.
Great. Oh, now there's an unscripted question here, which is from me to you. And I'm interested because we filmed it in London. And I know whilst you were there, you really used London. You went out, you saw some shows and stuff. And how did you find London? Did you have fun there?
Oh, I did. I loved London. I've been to London many times, and I've seen a lot of the historical sites, and I've been there, and I have friends there, and so for me it was great to get to spend such an extended period with my friends there. But what was so interesting to me about making the film there was that our location manager was so extraordinary and showed me a London I'd never seen before. For even in just the little pieces of the film where you walk through the city, there were little bits and pieces of a London I'd never seen. Where we go in the asylum scene, that was so magnificent to me. And things like that there's an amazing gallery in there that we got to go look at lunch. it was astonishing. So there was a London revealed to me through the making of this film that I didn't know existed, and I certainly didn't know there were that many phallic symbols in London. Ooh, I get to ask you something. Do you think that being a parent has made you a better actor?
It certainly made me a different actor, yeah. I think the one thing about being a parent is that you cease to become the most important person in your universe, which, you know, what happened to me, like I think a lot of actors in my early days, is that sense of the work was everything. It had to be. My career was everything. And as soon as you're responsible for somebody else in that way, a child, you can't be like that. You just have to have it. It gives you a different perspective on your life. Whether it's made me a better actor, I can't say. It certainly made me a better person. So I think that's probably does filter through to my work. Yeah. Okay. Having become a disciplined actor, is directing now on the cards for Sharon Stone?
Well, I've certainly been thinking about it, and I've been developing a script. I'm not positive if I'm going to direct, but I'm certainly producing more films, and I'm certainly more invested in the way a film comes together now. It's not just, you know, this small look at a film that I had before.
The whole package. Do you think you could ever direct yourself?
Yeah, I think I could. And I certainly know from when I did The Muse with Albert Brooks that when Albert needed to step away from the camera and go on film, I was able to watch him and say to him, oh, you might want to be more to the left or the right, or I didn't want to step into his space, but I wanted to be
able to do that. Yeah.
Helpful to him.
Different discipline, I think, but it's very...
What was the biggest challenge of shooting rather intense love scenes with a psychopathic character?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's obviously...
That is a good question.
It is, but I think, you know, it's the psychopathic character I was doing the scenes with, whereas, you know, I think one of the things with actors doing love scenes or sex scenes is that you have to create an atmosphere where you both trust each other, and that's certainly what we had, I think. So then that scene is like any other scene that you do, is we would talk about what type of story happened within the scene, and that's regardless of whether you got your clothes on or not, is you have to tell a story in that scene, and we did that. And I think, you know, the film is filled with intense scenes.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're naked or you're not, there's a lot of the characters. Both characters go through a lot in this film. So the one thing for me was making sure that when you went to work, you had an atmosphere where you could create, you could be comfortable. If you had to go to a place emotionally, you knew that you were surrounded by people who would look after you. And that was certainly the case. I felt this with you and the people on the movie, that we could do that. And the other thing that's always important for an actor on a film like this is that you have fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And we certainly
we did. We made those scenes funny.
You have to.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to.
Because otherwise you just want to kill yourself.
Mad. You go mad.
Finish this sentence.
Oh, gosh.
The 3 things I love about movies are...
Well, you know, as a movie goer, I think the 3 things I love about movies is to be transported somewhere else. I love that sort of fantasy of just getting out of my life and seeing something else. But I also love the sense that I could like to be challenged by films that make me think, that get out there as well. And the third thing, even now, is like I like going on a date with my missus to the movie theatre. I think it's the best in the world. You know, it's just getting out, sitting in a movie theatre and just being transported somewhere else and just having a meal afterwards. I love that. And how about you?
I love to go to the movies and feel like I really admire someone in the movie, and I want to be like them. That, oh, there's something about them, and if I could just get like that. I loved that feeling. And I love going with my kids and getting the popcorn, and we love doing that and sharing our popcorn and having the thing. And for me to look over and see my kid and we're eating the popcorn and see his eyes so big, that's for me such a big deal.
Brilliant.
And I too, to go on a date and hold hands in the dark, there's that thrill. It's like when you were a teenager and you held hands for the first time. There's something about holding hands in the dark in the movie theater that just, re-engages romance in a way that nothing else does.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to Moviefone. Thanks for being with us.
And thanks for sending in the questions for us to ask as well.
Go see Basic Instinct 2. It's sexy and nasty and scary.
Bye now.
'Cause he's
I'm not.